official, it's a shame. About that salary, the truth is that life is a game. Always a battle, see I do this shit just to maintain. Can't bottle it in me, this music stimulates my brain. They pump to me for everything, cause I got it, I do a little bit of
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm back for FL Studio tutorial number 16, and today I'm going to show you how, or at least one way how, you can mix drums as far as dealing with kick drums and bass hitting at the same time. I'm sure you guys have experienced, you'll take like an 808 bass hit and then a kick drum and layer it together and, mix it and EQ it, as good as you can. And you take it out to the car where there's a subwoofer and it sounds like shit. This is just one way how you can kind of avoid that, at least some of that. You still, of course, are going to have to test everywhere. But in this case, what I'm going to show you guys is a drum beat where I've got a kick drum, some 808 bass, and then also a bass sign in there. And I'll just kind of show you how I treat them and mix them and blend it all together. First, I'll show you the beat here. Alright, so you get the idea there. Really what we're going to focus on are just three things. The 808 bass hit, which is just a shot of bass. It sounds like this. Okay, and then a sign, which is just bass, constant bass, a bass sign. And then a kick drum. I'm using one that comes with FL Studio. Under the packs, you go down to vintage, and there's a vintage bass drum. I just drew that in there, and I'm using that. And I guess the main reason why I'm using this one, let me pull both of these up here. So these are EQs for both the kick drum and then the bass. When the kick drum hits, you can see all the energy is really 30 to 100 hertz. That's where the subwoofer is really going to pump out the air on that kick drum. But at the same time, if you're going to layer it over some bass, let me find here we go. If you're going to layer it over the bass, you're going to find that the kick drum and the bass drum, are both fighting for space. And if you got too much shit going on down there in the subwoofer range, it doesn't sound good. So really what you got to say to yourself is, out of this kick drum and this bass, which one am I going to let win? And by win, I'm saying which one's going to be louder and stand out more. And what I usually do is I let the kick drum win the battle. And here's why. It's got, some higher frequencies than the 808 bass does. It's got that punch that hits you in the chest. You can feel it. Or I guess if you're in a car with a subwoofer, it's that one that hits you in the back, like your upper back on the seat. Alright, so, and then what you've got with the bass, obviously, is subwoofer, just pure air moving. So somewhere in the middle they overlap frequency wise. So I'll play this pattern here and you can kind of see both the kick and the bass playing. And they kind of overlap right at about 30 to 50 hertz. And what that ends up meaning is when you're in the car, the sub is just going to get overdriven. It's going to be making that fart noise. It's going to sound like shit, okay? So in the next part here, I'll show you how to mix it all together, get everything sounding nice and smooth. Alright guys, so let's mix up these drums here. And again, they overlap, so what I'm going to do is let the kick win the battle, but that really just means it's going to be a little bit louder and it's going to stand out when the two are hitting, right? So I've got my kick drum here mixed volume wise. I'll put it at go to -10, and that number is going to change. I mean, you mix it wherever you need to on your track or wherever you like to mix it at. Okay, and then the bass hit itself is coming in at about -14, so a lot softer. But if you were hearing this with a subwoofer right now, it probably sounds pretty good. You'll hear what I'm trying to do. You get the punch of the kick drum, and you get the low rumble of the bass, and it's a good mixture. This low bass is a hell of a lot more intense than, you know, frequencies a little higher up, 80 to 120, if that makes sense. You get more air movement out of these low frequencies, so I like to make the kick just punch really hard, and then the bass kind of rumbles down low below it. Alright, and secondly, since this kick drum is kind of got, you know, some overlap in the 50 hertz range, I'm going to roll it off at 50 hertz. I do this with a lot of my kick drums, and then tighten the bandwidth up. Probably go a little lower, like 45 hertz. So that sounds pretty good. So now I'm filtering out some of the really low bass that I just don't need, because this 808 bass hit below here is taking care of that space. So now the two, you know, they really are getting along a little bit better. The last thing I'm going to do is always, I've got the kick drum track highlighted. I'm going to sidechain to the bass track and drop the limiter in here. Go to the compression tab, sidechain dial, and choose the kick that I'm sending. Pull the threshold down, crank the ratio up. That's too much. So now you can see the kick drums pulling the volume down just a little bit on the bass when it's first hitting, and then letting go as soon as the kick stops hitting. So now that's really good. We shouldn't have any distortion on a subwoofer with that now, right? So we'll move on to the next part. It's real similar, except this time I've added in the bass sign, which is just a constant line of bass. Alright, and much like that bass hit, you know, mix it in around -14 or so. Not doing anything with the EQ on it, don't really need to. And just like the other kick and 808 bass hit on track 1, I'm going to sidechain this kick drum to the bass sign as well and do the same thing. Pull the limiter in there, compression, and choose 808 kick. Drop the threshold, crank the ratio. So now that kick drum's really ringing out first and just for a moment, and then that 808 bass sign kind of takes over. So this all should sound pretty good mixed together. I'll let you guys hear it. Hopefully that all makes sense why I did that. And of course, look at my other tutorials where I get down into EQing the other instruments to make space too. I haven't really done that yet with this track, but anyway, subscribe, comment, like the videos. I appreciate it. I see all the people subscribing and shit. That's awesome, man. Definitely stay tuned. I'm gonna keep on doing this, and hopefully you guys enjoyed and are getting something out of it. So I'll see you next time, guys. Later.